Thank you for jumping in, because I think that first I think that your colleagues Adi and Mark, they wanted Mark to be on camera, but then I get the pleasure to meet you instead, right?
Yeah, I hope it's a pleasure. But Mark is taking a vacation, and he deserves it. Just right in front of Drupa, we all need some energy, refreshing the battery. So I hope you're fine with me. I think I have some experience in the corrugated market, and there's a lot of things going on in that market, and I'm very happy talking to you.
Yeah, I'm more than pleased that you're here, Wolfram. So don't worry about that. You're working specifically with the let's say. I mean, we have to get used to that. Everything in HP now is industrial print, right? But you work in that sector that has to do with your let's say corrugated presses, right?
Right.
Yeah. So for people that, just for you know them, for example, that is the page wide 550C, for example, right? And I remember that because I've just been visiting one of your customers in America, making a film from them, and that was an amazing experience to see how the digital transformation also takes place in the corrugate. I mean, it is in all segments, of course, right? But it is interesting. I mean, with your experience, would you say that it is it a surprise to you that sometimes it goes so fast?
I don't think it's going fast. First of all, I think it goes very slowly in baby steps. I just read a comment yesterday from your colleague Dan Branton, and he says even the giants are making baby steps in the corrugated business, and I think that's correct. It's a very traditional industry, the corrugated industry. It's would say not as attractive to brands and retailers in the first place, like folding carton, flexible packaging of labels. And you clearly see the adoption rate and the performance, what HP is doing and others in that environment. Corrugated is a little bit more of an expertise segment where you need, let's say, a strong value proposition, and you need some experience and some failures. Failures are very important in that environment because the corrugated industry is really a kind of a dusty, dirty industry, and most boxes are brown, and let's say flexo print is still predominant. There's a huge adoption rate. You have seen that in the US, like companies are doing that, like the Box Maker, for example, and some other really great ones in Europe are picking up and really looking into lighter lamination equipment is getting old. We need to do something else, and they're looking into the offering of HP. So it's not about, let's say, it's about what's happening in the future. It's happening today. Because it's already started back in 2016 with the first version of the C500. And now we have the C550 just launched some 14 months ago. So it's not a Drupal launch, it's no 3D drawing, it's no PowerPoint presentation with no substance. It's really a real product and second generation. And it's a go-to-market product. And you can see that in a lot of installations. There are more than 20 installed worldwide now, and this is quite an adoption rate. And I think what makes that product quite successful is that this press is printing. It's printing one shift, it's printing two shifts. Very few printing three shifts. It's not about the capability of the machine. It's still about the, let's say, the way how corrugated companies are thinking. And we see a lot of these Vista prints and flyer alarms and Saxo prints and you name it, all these big players on the market looking into other applications. And I'm pretty sure that these guys are picking up quite soon on corrugated and corrugated display with water-based things, because I think it fits perfectly in their offering towards smaller and medium businesses. And they have the go-to-market. They know how to sell. They know how to market this kind of product. So it's quite an interesting space, and I'm really looking forward to Drupa because it's really a platform to share some information, to talk to the people, to really get an understanding what's next, particularly in my environment in corporate.
I agree with everything you said. And when I spoke about that things are going fast, I was not referring specifically to corrugated. I was just thinking last week I was at the HP PreDrupa event in Indianapolis, and Noam Silberstein said basically that within the next 20 years, HP expect that all labels will be printed in digital, and maybe even sooner. And I was just thinking that if you look at ceramics, that's almost 100% today, right? If labels is almost 100% within a short time, I was just thinking that the digital transformation, in generally speaking, in print, is maybe going on faster than we could expect. I know that both folding carton and corrugated, you want it to go faster, you want to sell, of course, right? but I think that also that you learn from it, right? Because if you think of the corrugators, I think that at least in my opinion, maybe you prove me wrong, but I was thinking that first of all, it's very, very big machines that are in that segment. I mean, they are very big, they are very fast, and still in Flexo, if you look at the variable costs, still considerably different. I'm not saying cheaper because there's a value proposition too, but different from digital. So I think that, as you're right, also that it has to be a demand from the brand owners in order to have that as a marketing and communication piece before that will really push the requirements from towards what you're talking about. But I was thinking one more thing, and that was, and maybe you can tell the audience a little bit, because I think in Europe there's a new legislation pushing that traceability on packaging, typically either by a QR code or some other kind of code, so you can see the origin of things. Is that something that you think will help the digital transformation in corrugated?
Yeah, yes and no. It's no straight yes. It's fantastic. It's coming, and this is really increasing the rate of digital presses in corrugated plants tremendously. I think there's something to it. It's very important if you talk to these industry leaders in a corrugated environment. You know, there's international papers, there's Murphy Kappas, West Rocks, D. Smith, and Mondis. There's a lot going on bigger scale, on mergers. There's even some rumors on some smaller scale with some family-owned businesses going on. And this is good. There's some tension in the market because of the paper prices. The paper prices have been very low, and some of these companies, they own huge paper mills. They haven't earned much money. So we see the paper prices increasing. That's helpful because that gives them some really backwind and fuels some let's say some investments. And digital presses are one of them. The other thing is automatization. You see a robot in front and back of the machine. It makes sense, but you can't grow a business by just automating it. Yeah, you get rid of let's say of some labor which is would say not desirable in the future, because feeding a machine by hand and unloading it by hand, there are better jobs out there. And I think there are these people, you can train them on other things, and this is good. It's a good thing. So it's not taking away jobs. Everybody's short of labor. It's just moving jobs and more high-skilled labor, which is a huge development, I believe. And on the other hand, you see of digital presses, because all these flexo operators, these skills in flexo, washing the flexo plates, cleaning it, replacing it, and back and forth. It's a job profile which is people anymore. So a digital press, you see these people on the digital press. It's a completely different thing to operate. You see it on a label press, and it's not much different on these big corrugated presses. So I think there is something going on, and the brand owners are for sure driving it. And this variable data thing with the, let's say, European Union, it helps. But there are a lot of elements, and if you talk to corrugated businesses, I'm doing that a lot on an international scale. You need to have a good understanding how to go to market, how to implement it in your operations, and it will be a successful installation. The good thing is the product is now really ready to go to market. It's not a product which is a beta or alpha version. It's a second generation press, and it's below 5 million. So for those companies who want to print something like 15 million a year in 3 shifts, it's quite a good solution for them.
Referred to the film we did from Sutherland Packaging in the US just a few months ago, and it's quite interesting because it was it is a brown box flexo printing company, as you spoke about, and now it is the third generation company taking over now by below 40 in the early 30s, I guess, owner, right? And that is also like quite interesting, because that is also because I think that the value proposition in having when you hand over, let's say, a family-owned company to the next generation, this is probably a very good step, because what they saw from investing in the C550 was basically new types of customers, POS, as you said, but also a conversion of existing brown box customers into four-color boxes that had a much higher value for the retailers and for the people that are using the boxes. So even though it's a let's say a new period of time, I still think that you are in a good position, because you started as HP, you started investing in this years ago. I don't know if you heard this morning with Canon, where they introduced, but they are new in this market, right? So they have to get that knowledge that you have built up for a long time before they get to the knowledge level that you have. And I guess that goes to the same with other people that wants to be in that market, that you cannot, it's not just about the machines, it's also an understanding of what is going on in the board meetings and in the productions of these big companies, right?
Yeah, and even what you're absolutely right, that this let's say this announcement for Canon to be want to be in the corrugated market in 2026, by the end of 2026, it's still a prototype, it's still on the drawing, but it's a commitment from them to they want to go to the corrugated industry. They see a market there. So it's always good to have competition. I think it helps, because if there's no competition, there's no market. So it's a good story, and this will fuel the let's say these discussions and what's needed. For sure, there's one thing: water-based thing is the thing. HP decided very, very early to go water-based, and this is now very helpful, because these regulations we're talking about are not happening only on the QR codes; they're happening on the environmental friendliness and on the, let's say, food safety, and that's a big thing. That's a big thing.
I can't help think about that. When I talk to let's say your colleagues and your competitors in the same, let's say, the commercial space, the T2 series, 3 series, 4 series segment, and I talk to them about the competition. Everybody talks about positive competition, but they also say that it is interesting, because in the digital transformation, it's not really fighting each other. It's more fighting about getting the 98% of the market under the digital. So I guess that besides having the positive effect of competition, I guess it's also, let's say, opening more doors, because the more people that are knocking the door and talk about all the advantages of digital, it makes it easier for each of you to come out and talk to them at the next level, basically, right?
Yeah, you're right. That's always true. It's always true. Whereas competition, there's a market, and this is very important. And the big thing is with HP, and you learned that in the US, AI is coming. Technology makes a difference. That's important. And all these future-ready activities within HP, these are helping customers to discuss about their business needs. And you've been right. This moving from brown to let's say more color packaging. Even you can print nice colors on brown, right? That's possible. But these young generations are taking over, and you're absolutely right. There's a generation shift, and there's a mind shift. And my kids are now 22 and 23. Yeah, so one of them is a packaging student. Yeah, and they have a completely different way of thinking. Yeah, they are just more open-minded. They're just more solution-oriented, and they want something different from a packaging vendor than in the past. They want to have these campaigns, these Facebook campaigns and these Instagram campaigns, and they want to have these campaigns converted on a box. Yeah, so they don't think about the box in the first place. They think about the campaign in the first place, and then they think about the box. And if the corrugated industry can offer some, let's say, additional value, this helps, because the business itself will not grow. The brown box business will not grow. But we have seen in all our installations that you can grow your business even in difficult times over the last 2 years in a corrugated environment with a digital press. So when everything is going down, digital is going up. It's not about these, let's say, billions and billions of square meters in volume. It's more about these millions of square meters with a high value.
Precisely. Wolfram, it was a pleasure to have you here on English, our PreDrupa. I hope to see you or one of your colleagues at the next one as well. That is on April 23rd. And I guess that the closer we get to Drupa, the more interesting things will take place. But you said that you would be on Drupa in your Big Hall 17 and have an opportunity to talk to people, right?
Yeah, more than full time. For me, it's a full-time job, especially for my let's say European customers, and I'm German speaking as well. So all these German clients, the Austrians and the Swiss and so forth. So I'm really excited to be at Drupa. Very excited meeting you there. And today it was all about the corrugated press. So next time you talk about some other nice, very interesting products coming up the road from HP.
Super great. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Morten. Thank you for having me.